Federal data says U.S. consumers spent an average of 11.3% of their disposable personal income on food last year. So most consumers will notice when prices for core products like milk go up. But who's to blame when you're paying more at the checkout line? Farmers want you to know it's not them. A labor of love.
I started milking cows when I was 10 years old.
And a family tradition.
Home farm has been in the family 143 years. I'm the fourth generation. My son will be the fifth.
Dairy farmer Keith Radke isn't one to brag. His Wilton farm is relatively on the small side.
We have about a 20,000 pound herd average, about 1.6 million pounds of milk. Our milk is marketed through Foremost Farms.
Foremost is one of the nation's largest cooperatives based right in Wisconsin. Foremost signs contracts with major companies. Foremost then pays Keith for his milk and gets it to the companies who sell the finished product. When the price of a gallon of milk goes up at the store, you might think it's Keith raising his prices. You'd be wrong.
We really don't have that much control. It's very market driven.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture prices milk based on what government has in storage and what class of products the milk is used for. Supply and demand then adjusts the trading price on the official merchant exchange.
If a lot of that milk is going into class 3, into cheese, and all of a sudden if the plants start backing up, then that milk gets a lot cheaper.
Getting a good price is sometimes all about timing. So you're then dependent on the kind of contracts that your co-op is able to secure?
Exactly. And sometimes you get into some contracts that we've been appraised of that they wish were shorter in duration, because if your market goes up, you're stuck at a lower price that you contracted for, that the processor contracted for, well, it comes back to hurt us.
Keith says he's at the bottom of the food chain, unable to pass on any costs. Major brands can essentially name the price they want to pay, so Foremost deducts money from its deal with Keith to cover things like milk processing and trucking.
As corporations go, they watch the bottom dollar. They're going to try and squeeze as many pennies out of us down here as they can.
Farmers like Keith have to get creative to stay lean, whether it's using Craigslist to buy used equipment or leasing land instead of buying. And for everything out of their control, there's only one thing to do.
You have to sit sort of tight. You don't want to say, oh, tomorrow I'm going to send my milk here, and you might not have a market. So it almost sounds thankless to be in agriculture, so I asked him during the interview why he's kept going. He says it's a mix of working for himself and the excitement at seeing the younger generation also enjoy the work that goes into creating the staples that the rest of us essentially take for granted.
It's an important job he has there.
Absolutely.